broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
And welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV after show for Downton Abbey. This is series... Abbey, sorry. This is series season 5, episode 5. I'm John Comerford, joined in the studio by Alina Akram.
Hey, everyone.
And Tamara Berg.
Hello.
Okay, this week we had Scotland Yard comes a knockin'. We had Bunting goes packing. We had Charles fricasseed at lunch. And where I want to start off is the fight. There's a fight. There's a fight at Downton Abbey. Finally, Bricker pays yet another visit. How many times has he come visiting?
So often that it feels like home.
Yes, exactly. He feels right at home, two at home for everybody's taste, except for, well, even Cora said that, if you can behave yourself. But it's interesting that he comes on the night that, Lord Grantham is going to be doing something else in Sheffield, spending the night there with some event that he has to go to.
Convenient.
I love the scene where, he's, Bricker comes to the door unannounced, uninvited into her bedroom, to Cora's bedroom. And they have their little discussion, and they're cutting back, and then you realize, oh my God, look, Grantham came home.
I was like this. I was shouting.
Yeah.
I was just wondering the whole time if they were going to kiss or do something even more inappropriate. Because for back in the day, how scandalous was it that he came in her room?
Yep.
Oh, he snuck into the room.
And they were in there.
In his...
pajamas. Or what do you call it? His robe.
Yes, his robe.
His night clothes.
Night clothes,
so
correct.
I think that's what the term was.
And so was she.
Oh, absolutely.
And her hair was down.
But she was great. She was just like, she was wonderful. But she held her decorum.
She did.
She said, I must ask you to leave. No, I've asked you to leave.
Yeah.
You guys are, I don't know.
What you say it. Let's go.
I think that she's already started an emotional affair. Even when Robert seemed ticked off at the fact that he was coming again, she said, well, I already invited him. So she's asking for it in a sense.
Yeah, but she's not going to have a chance for anything to happen from here on out.
Well, yeah, Bricker, I don't think. Well,
he's not coming back to Downton Abbey.
But she might visit him elsewhere. But I want to go back to what Alina said. So, are you suggesting that she actually wanted him to go into the bedroom, not that she ever made the overture?
I don't think that she necessarily wanted that extreme.
Right.
I think that she did want to make her husband jealous.
Oh, okay.
Or at least tick him off and make him realize, like, look at this. This man admires me. He actually treats me with respect. And in a sense, I feel like she kind of wanted. She
wanted something to happen.
Some kind of reaction, and I mean, maybe not a tumble, like the way
and a punch,
Kind of actually a backhand,
kind of a sissy punch. Let's be honest.
Was it a punch or a backhand?
It was a backhand. I think it was a backhand of his. I don't think it was a slap. It was a backhand of his fist. It was an odd choice, but it seemed very lord-like.
And what if for a guy wearing the outfit he was wearing, it looked proper?
Well, it wasn't like it's not like they were used to barroom fights. I just don't think, unless they did some pugilism at Oxford. I mean, who knows?
Well, also, what about the look she was giving him, Bricker, when he was leaving?
Cora was looking at Bricker as he's leaving.
Out the window
when he's in the car riding away.
What did you guys take away from that? Because, again, I was like...
Well, you have some thoughts on that. What do you think?
I think, again, like, she's, I don't know, probably pissed at him, but why are you out there waiting to see him go away? Like, it's as if she didn't... I don't know. I just don't think it's proper.
It looked like disdain to me.
Oh, right. Disdain.
Yeah, she was just like, seriously, you need to go.
Is that what you thought? Okay.
Yeah. Because she did. It wasn't as if she was giving a little, I mean, it would be way too obvious to do a wink or a smile or anything, but her face was, she did not look wistful or forlorn to me.
Right.
Which is what I think she would be if she was truly, if she was feeling like she wanted something to go forward.
I think I'm going to go right in the middle here, because I believe that Alina's right in the sense that she wanted a reaction. I don't think she at all wanted him to go into the room. I think that was legit. I think meaning her response to it was like, no, I didn't want to get out of here, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think she absolutely was trying to I'm not going to get attention from you. Fine. Okay, here's a guy who's going to lavish praise on me. That's okay. I'm going to enjoy that. As long as it doesn't. And I think she was serious when she said, as long as you behave yourself.
Right.
Because I think it was all fine and fun and it was there, but it wasn't anything serious until he crossed that threshold. And then it became, So I don't think that she wanted anything specific to happen with him, but I do agree that she was trying in some fashion, in some passive-aggressive way to try to get a rise out of her husband. Make him start paying attention to her.
I don't really see it as that. I don't think she even thought that far into it. In my mind, she was just appreciating that this person was appreciating her. It happened that it was a guy, and as it turned out, the guy had the hots for her. But I think it was... I think it absolutely started, as a, moment where she was just enjoying a friendship and enjoying camaraderie over art and things like that. And, she was kind of enjoying the flirtation, but once it started to really get to flirtation, she kept shutting it down.
No, I agree with that, but she also kept letting it happen because she kept putting them in a position where they'd be together.
That's true.
But and the other thing is, let's not forget when he said to... I think it was Rosamund. Rosamund said she was going to be there for a week, and Lord Grantham says, "Well, then you'll have to only enjoy Cora." And you could see the look on Cora's face. She was clearly is not happy with the way that she's speaking to him. He's speaking to her,
right.
And I think, Bricker, sure, come on in. I think she's doing it to rub his face in it a little bit.
Well, and he kind of crossed the line last week too when they were in the room. Was it the library? And he
caught them and he interrupted them, I should say.
And what was he saying? He was being pretty forward with Cora.
Yeah, he's saying that he's about to burst because of how much he feels for her.
Great, that's exactly what she said. So she could have just cut it off then and there and not invited him again.
Yeah. That's true.
When her husband was away.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, but I don't think she for a second really wanted anything to happen with him. I just don't see that part of it, but it kind of backfired on me.
She's not that innocent either.
Yeah, well, and she's really paying for it because
which is ridiculous.
There's this big fight. Oh, by the way, the fight. Your father and I were playing a game and we knocked over a lamp.
Yeah, that's what she says. Edith hears it and comes knocking, and that's what she says, which is a great. Yeah, like okay, really, all right. But Edith buys it enough.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious.
I thought the fight was hysterical too. I was just like, whoa. Stunts on Downton Abbey. Nice.
Right.
So
then they're at the bash.
But they're pathetic because they were exhausted after like 10 seconds of fight.
Their fighting days are long past.
Yeah, long past.
So at the bash, they kept they had a receiving line.
They were everybody's being announced.
And Cora was being herself, and Lord Grantham was just
cold as ice. Yeah.
Yes, exactly what I wrote down there.
Cold as ice. And Violet, of course, notices it.
Violet noticed, and so did Mary.
Right. And I the whole time, what are you all pissed off about? I mean, own up. And clearly you're part of this, buddy.
Yeah, but
you brought this on yourself.
He's a dude in that society in that time. And, it's a patriarchal society, and that's how it is.
And at the end of the day, his wife was in her pajamas or whatever night clothes, and another gentleman was in the room too.
Yeah,
she shouldn't have allowed that in his eyes.
Well, I don't think she allowed it. She just went to bed. And he even confessed. He even admitted, look, I came around not at her invitation.
Sure, but Lord Grantham, he doesn't know all the details.
That's kind of my point is once you talk to her, find out the details, discuss the matter.
Heat of the moment, which apparently...
Heat of the moment, it's the next day.
Oh, the next day. I thought you guys were talking about the fight.
No, it's the next day. He's given her the cold shoulder the entire day. And I'm going, all right, what's the deal?
I already think he's a douche, so let me start on that.
We have a new name for Lord Grantham.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Lord DB.
All right. All right. So, but I was just like, what are you all upset about, buddy? Just figure it out. Just sit there. But of course they can't because there's no drama in sitting down and talking.
No. No, but I like that there was this, that there's this another one of these saucy, kind of exciting moments happening. Mm-hmm. They told us we were going to have that with this series, and
I thought when it was all happening, they were doing the intercut with the Lord Grantham coming down the hallway, going up the stairs, I thought, oh, this is good, because I really was going, oh my gosh, what are they gonna? Oh, is he gonna kiss it?
Screaming.
And I thought I was hoping they would have pushed that just a little bit more, and like he
had a hand on
threw
her
on the bed or something like that. Just not that Corey would have wanted that, or was just trying to get away, whatever.
Just to make it look a little more suspicious.
Just to get it, just to push that envelope a little bit farther, push that envelope. So that would have been fun.
That was good.
All right, but the other thing that was fun for me, let's go over to the other relationship that's kind of in an iffy state, is when Mary is taken to lunch by Charles Blake.
Oh my gosh!
And who does she meet there?
Maybelline Fox.
Who was obviously Tony Gillingham's ex-fiance. So I thought it was the two ladies there. Not it was like, well, didn't expect you to hear it.
Nor I.
And now yeah, Maybelline not happy to see her. Had some choice words. That was
Blake
fun.
has some nerve.
Yeah, you think so, right?
And I mean, quite an idea, but I don't think that any lady would want to.
You wouldn't go for
back.
this? You wouldn't go for this?
No. I liked what she told him too. She said, eat my, because she
You
ran
said, what should
out
we
of
do
the-
with your food?
Yeah.
She said, eat it, and I hope it chokes you.
You choke on it, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you wouldn't, if you were in Maybelline's position, you would have done the same thing, huh?
Heck yeah. God, you're already mad as it is.
I know,
seeing
but
the
what about-
lady who stole.
Well, yeah, but what about the fact that she really loves him? She really loves Tony.
Who does? Mabel?
Mabel, yeah.
But let him pursue her. You don't want, a guy who is again pursuing the woman who took away your fiance, suggesting
He's
you run
just
back
trying to
him.
put all the pieces back together again the way they were supposed
No,
to be.
he's just trying to get Mary free and clear so,
So
he
he
can
can
court her
have
with
her,
her.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
He
you know?
definitely has an ulterior motive.
Of course he does, which I thought was great.
Here,
Like,
I got it all figured
remember
out.
last week?
You're going to go to lunch with me. We're going to go to lunch with her. She's going to go back to him. And then you're going to come to me.
Absolutely.
Ta-da.
And last week when they were having dinner, Mary and Charles, and he said, he was saying that thing about, you're trying to figure out how to get rid of Tony. Well,
Right.
there
You
are other
can soften
options.
the
blow.
And this was his
Soften the
plan.
blow.
Soften the blow.
The
Give him Maybelline.
the like snarkiness in this lunch between the two ladies was just brilliant. I mean, it was like, Violet worthy
what was the word?
for a little bit later. Right.
I feel like
just lost it.
Mary is a modern day Violet, though.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. This was just a scene we needed to play when she left. But she left in quite the huff, talking about I'm supposed to take, this is what you're looking for. I'm supposed to take Mary's
Discarded leavings.
Yeah, pick
Yeah.
them up off the floor, dust off the fluff, and put them
Yeah.
on my plate or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Makes Tony look really appealing, doesn't it?
Well, she's probably a little, hell hath no fury. She's a little scorned
That's
by-
right.
by Tony. So,
That's right.
But I love the fact that she's still in love with him. And I think Charles probably hit it on the head. She probably is still in love with him, but she's not ready to do anything about it because she's still upset about the whole thing. Rightly so, that he...
Sure. Well, he hasn't pursued her. So why would she run back to him?
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, you don't know. I
Too
think
complicated.
There needs to be a little time in there for her, I think.
That's why I think it was a great plan. I mean, a horrible plan because
Yeah.
really, did you think this was going to work? That she
Yeah.
was just going to be able to... Okay, that sounds like a great idea, Charles.
Sure.
I love that Mary doesn't really care about Tony anymore, or the fact that he refused to end their relationship, and she just went on a little date with Charles.
Yeah.
And with the ex there, too.
Yeah. Well,
Of course, I'm
Yeah.
literally, but that part was fun.
and then Anna even mentioned, "Well, are you going to see
Tony.
what's his last name?
Gillingham.
Gillingham," and she said, "No."
Yep. So last week we saw her not really putting her foot down when Tony said, I'm refusing your refusal.
Yeah.
And here she's like, yeah, whatever, you can refuse all you want, but I'm still going to go to have lunch with Charles and pursue that and get a fricassee with him and how he likes his meat, his beef pink, not rare.
Right.
Which I'm not exactly sure of the metaphor, and I don't really want to go there. So.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
But okay, now speaking of other relationships, let's go to the ones that is completely on the outs now because Tom broke it off, or they parted ways as friends because he didn't want either one of them to get really hurt.
Yes.
With broken bunting.
Yeah, bunting is broken. So and unfortunately, Courtney's not here. She's probably applauding the whole thing because she's not a fan of Sarah.
She is. I'm sure
Yes.
she is.
Dummy
She
Bunting
said
goes
she was going to
packing.
watch us tonight, so hopefully she is.
So
So when he first before he found out she was leaving,
no, he just broke off the relationship.
he
so to
says, "You
speak.
forget my wife was one of them. My child is one of them. Why do you despise them? Maybe we should call it a day before one of us
Yeah.
gets hurt." And so,
Which is kind of what he said last week. He
I was
said,
just gonna
"I
say that.
love them."
Right.
Yeah.
So how many times do you have to tell Bunting something before she gets it?
Apparently more.
So, but this was clear.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to bring up was from one of our YouTube fans who said, this is Eric Tull. Thank you, Eric. With regard to Sarah Bunting, I think that Fellows has picked up on the sudden empowerment of women after the Great War. The present series takes place during the very first socialist government in the UK, the very first woman socialist member of parliament. Janet Jenny Lee was elected for parliament in March 1929, even though she was not allowed to vote. And he talks a bunch about it. If you guys want to see all of what he wrote, which is very thoughtful, is on last week's YouTube page. But so, I mean, he talks about how, you know, the aristocracy. So Bunting is a new wave of politically minded women that suddenly crawled out of the woodwork, and having worked in the munition factories, etc. And these women hated the aristocracy with a vengeance. And so it was just, I mean, they really felt like we got into the war, we were all in this terrible situation because of the aristocracy, partly, you know, and all that kind of thing. And so I think it's very hard for her to see the other side at all.
Well, as it was for Tom when he first started, but you know, just like you spend some time with each other and you start to see that we're human and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and Lord Grantham brought that up.
I know when
earlier.
they had that firside chat.
Yeah.
So, and
you should be proud of the
what
progress
you've
you've made in the family.
Yeah, which is like, what about the progress you've made, because you now accepted him? You know, it was very condescending, but I understood the sentiment.
Lord DB. Lord DB. And also, but I like the fact that Daisy came up to Bunting. I mean, not Bunting.
To Tom.
Tom, and she tried to convince him to go back with Sarah. I like what she said. She said, "We're the future; they're the past."
Yeah, that's echoing what you were just saying. What Eric was saying as well.
And she also reminds him that you were once one of us. So
yeah, but I also
I don't think he forgets that.
I don't think he forgets it either. But I love it's kind of a human trait that we always want to pull people back to where they were. Nobody likes them to let them grow. You always want to pull them back.
Yeah, because it's more comfortable.
Yeah, and it's like,
for those of us left behind, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, wherever you let him grow to whatever that is, whatever the next part of his evolution is.
And the thing is, he hasn't forgotten where he's come from. It's just that he's grown to respect these people. They're literally his family now, and they've shown him respect and love, so he feels the same way. You can't blame him for it.
Yeah, but you know, he still, the second time he sees Sarah, when he finds out that she's actually moving, then he goes and sees her and stuff, and he thanks her so much for reminding him of who he is.
Yes, so, but he lets her leave.
Right, of course.
Good.
But he kisses her before she goes.
Yeah, and she professed her love.
Yeah, I've loved you, you know, and I could have loved you more.
Yeah, she had a very odd way of showing it. But then again,
right? Yeah. But truly, that was sort of a declaration of love for her to, you know, to keep reminding him of progress and what the kind of what sort of a world we could make together, kind of thing.
And ignoring his requests. There's that. That's a weird way of showing.
I know, and I agree with you.
Maybe deep down inside, she believed he still despised them.
Well, she wanted him to. She's even said that. Don't you despise him? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And she wanted him to. It's like, well, you can't really get anything done if all you do is despise the other people. Then you're just stuck in hate.
Yeah, and all you're doing is just arguing and not moving anything forward.
You're not moving anything forward. Much easier to work together. Anyway, so
we all just get along?
Exactly. Speaking of getting along and moving on to a relationships that are on the upswing. We have Rose meeting Atticus Aldrich.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, we got new blood here.
Yes. Cute couple alert.
Russian blood. Well, kind of Russian blood.
And a meat cute, too.
And a meat, it was a nice meat cute. Yeah, coming out of the bakery store.
She likes her cake.
Yes, she does. So, that was it. What do we think of those ladies? What do we think of Atticus?
I think it's cute.
I think they're a cute couple. Personally,
I like what she said. He's different than the others other men you meet where you're supposed to dance with. So she sees something different in him than all the other guys. Because she also liked, Jack.
Right.
It was different from all the other guys she danced with as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. So.
I think that they're really cute. I'm not sure where, okay, let me just say right here, I'm stopping trying to figure out Julian Fellows. And we'll talk about that a little later in the YouTube comments as well. But, evidently the fact that he has Jewish blood is, I would think that's going to be the problem, the hurdle.
Well,
that's exactly what I thought.
I would imagine. Otherwise, why bring the whole thing in and stuff like that? Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that. I think he, because of his whatever he has, there's something different about him. Or let Rose see, but I don't think she sees that it's the Jewish part of him that's different.
I don't think she personally sees the difference, but she knows that it may cause issues or.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think she took a liking to him way before she
I do
even knew
too.
who that understood the whole thing of the Russian Jewish thing and the diaspora, not diaspora, but the pushing them out of Odessa
Pogroms.
in 1859.
Yeah, I mean, the first time they met, that was not explained, and so he was charming and dashing, and
And she was
I'd
definitely
like to come and
smitten.
meet
Oh
you at
yeah,
tea.
she was smitten up right off the bat. So that was a nice little thing there in the rain.
I think he's cute.
Exactly.
Well, that's what I was asking. Ladies, I'm asking for your opinion of him. You like him?
Cute.
And no offense, but he's tall.
He's tall, and everybody's not liking the fact that Charles Blake isn't tall enough.
No, he's cute. He
Oh,
was tall.
people are making comments about Blake being
Yeah,
short. It's
and
very funny.
I'm assuming they won't have that same problem with Atticus. I'm going to be in the minority because I am already. There's nothing wrong with Charles's height. I'm telling you right there, right now.
You're right, John.
Listen, I'm all for Charles and not Tony.
Well,
No matter how tall
Yeah, I'm not
he
sure
is.
anybody's in Tony's camp anymore.
Yeah.
Not many anyway.
There were a couple people who were, sort of flip-flopping, but one of the things that was just never mind. We'll get to it in a second when we get to
right.
another storyline. But yeah,
So we're all on board with this Atticus thing
Yeah,
so
I
far,
like
right?
him.
We like this. We like the complication
He's
because
cute, we like him.
and then the Russian aristocracy when they're in there and they find
Golly,
out
they
I should say
pretty
the
much
one guy.
pretty much spat on him.
Well,
all
yeah,
night.
the one guy's
know.
like, whoa, okay. And so I'm sure, I'm hoping some more of that story will come out and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But, Mr. Corrigan.
Mr.
And no longer Prince in this era. He's like, come on, cool it, relax,
Right.
But no, that other guy, I don't remember his name, but that should be interesting. I hope more of that comes out. Of course, he's going to London now to be, was it a banker, I believe is what he said?
Yes.
So he's the Derby. So, we got to find reasons to get them together.
I think they'll
They
come
will.
together.
She'll probably just run away.
Any opportunity for Rose to go to London, she'll take it.
I'm going shopping.
I'm going to go shopping.
Exactly. I'm going to see Rosemont. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But it was fun to see them together. It's great to see Rose have something there.
Right, because she's the one ingenue we have now. I mean, we're rooting for Mary to get in some sort of relationship, but it's not, it's not as sort of sweet and beautiful as the Matthew relationship was because there's all of this complication in life coming into it. And so I think we're getting to sort of pin our romantic hopes on Rose, and it's nice. They're a very cute couple, and it could be a sweet and adorable Christmas wedding, maybe.
That's fast.
That's what I was thinking.
All right. Okay.
I mean, Christmas special wedding.
Right.
For Downton. So,
right.
when that.
Well, let's move on to another one that confounds me because we have Violet still sticking her nose in with Isabel and Lord Merton.
What is that about?
I don't know, because I originally, and help me out, everybody, because in the beginning it was like she was doing this just to get Isabel's goat in some fashion and putting Lord Merton there, and then kind of Isabel's against it, like I don't want to see him, I'm not interested, all that kind of stuff. But then she kind of took liking to it, and of course, as soon as she did, Violet wants to bring Clarkson in and upset the apple cart. Go ahead.
Well, when Dr. Clarkson was talking to her and was mentioned, it's not because the recent change of position for Mrs. Crawley, if she does marry the Lord, which that had me thinking, is there a bit of jealousy?
Well, we talked about this unfortunately you weren't here in that one. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and that's what I posited. I mean, she's got to be, concerned about that because she wouldn't want her position to be shadowed in any way by Isabel's.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I thought they're BFFs now.
Well, they're kind of begrudging BFFs.
They're frenemies.
They are frenemies.
I mean, they're always together walking through a graveyard or something like that.
The graveyard
But then
shots.
they just bicker at each other, but they seem to manage and get on.
Right, and I don't understand if it's just story confusion, if it's trying to continue things. Or if there's something behind it, because Violet is flip-flopping.
Yes,
she was all for one, then she was all for the other, and then she's all for one, and now
And again, she brought Clarkson back to try to separate them, Lord Merton and
right,
Isabel
and then the
again.
comment is
At the end of that scene when they had lunch together.
The truth is they're well suited for each other.
Because
I know, you're right.
He talks about the rites and ceremonies that are brought in by the Victorians, which has echoed something that Isabel had talked about earlier.
Yes.
So they are well suited together. Now, whether or not they actually get married, we don't know yet, because Isabel makes that great comment to Violet. Well, I'm going to tell him before I tell you.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I must say, sometimes Isabel has some good one-liners too.
great.
Yes.
What was the nudist colony comment she told Violet? Well, I'm sure they weren't suggesting that.
It wasn't meant for you.
Right. Right.
I loved it. Gotta appreciate it.
So, but does anybody have a clear understanding what Violet what the end game is?
I'm hoping some of our viewers do, because we've had some crazy theories on all sorts of things, but also some great insight, as obviously I was reading earlier. So if you guys have comments for us, let us know.
It's really helpful, especially because we watch these and then we come up here. We don't really have a lot of time between actually seeing it and actually coming and talking. So those people who can digest this and have come up with theories have some time to do so. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. But the thing is I'm just going to declare that I'm on Team Clarkson in this situation. I am, because I think Lord Merton, as sweet as he is, I feel like he's just not as well suited as Dr. Clarkson was. They were we were rooting for them last season, last series.
But she put the kibosh on there.
I know she did, and it annoyed me because I thought that they were great together. I mean, she really shut him down, and she was, British polite about it.
Yeah.
But in the bigger scheme of things, I thought it was kind of rude because they were great together.
Yeah, but she doesn't need a man. Didn't want one.
I mean, maybe that's all it comes down to. Is she doesn't want any man.
I don't know.
Period.
But the only reason why I like them together, and I'm sorry to interrupt, is because I would love her to be a lady on the same level, or maybe even above the Dowager, just to see what would happen. I think that would be fun.
It would be.
So.
I mean, this is off topic, but I just thought it was really cute that they came to the ball together and they were announced together.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looked good.
It's Crawley,
because you kind of got a glimpse of the future. It's like maybe.
Lord and Lady Merton.
Yeah. So, but you would say,
Get her a little
you want
tiara.
Dr. Clarkson. What about you?
I don't know. Maybe because it's been such a while that I've seen their dynamic together. I'm kind of on Team Merton right now. But I do recall when you were mentioning them.
Yeah. They weren't fun
Pretty
together.
good
They were
together.
good together.
Do you have an opinion, John?
Well, no, because I have always liked Clarkson. I was a big proponent of them last year as well, saying, like, come on, they're great together, all that kind of stuff. And when she said no, and I understood it, it made sense. But I do like the idea that she's Lady Merton. She kind of,
It's a really
because
fair
they're
point.
great digging at each other, and I think it would be fun for the Dowager and Isabel. Lady. What's her title now? It wouldn't be.
Who?
It's the
Violet?
Dowager against.
She's the Dowager Countess against Lady Merton.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
There you go. Thank you.
But here's the other thing. Remember Dr. Clarkson with the Sybil situation,
Right.
When with the birth of the baby, and how he was, cast aside
Right,
and really
for-
kept
That's true.
trying to
Right.
get, to save her essentially. I mean,
Right.
he was really heroic in his attempts,
Yeah.
and it was. I can't even talk about it. It's so heartbreaking.
I know. Still, isn't it? Still
It
wrong.
still
Still,
hurts.
it's hard, yeah.
Oh my God.
Because when you were talking about Roseby and the ingenue, I was thinking, because we don't have Isabel anymore,
Right.
and that young love that they had, and it's like, and I started thinking
Yeah.
about that, and went, wait, talk about something else.
Let's move on.
That's such a brutal scene. Okay,
So bad.
moving on.
Anyway, that's another one of the reasons why I love Dr. Clarkson,
Yeah.
because he's,
well, he's been terrific.
he's a hero.
He's been terrific.
He's a hero.
So, and since we've talked Isabel, let's talk about the third daughter, Edith.
Poor Edith.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no, this poor girl.
Rosamund comes visiting because when
God.
Mary was in London, she mentioned the child that Edith had taken an interest in, and so
Yes.
that brought Rosamund running.
Yes.
And of course, she had a chat with Edith, and actually wanted to go. I thought it was really nice that she wanted to go see Marigold.
I
and
did
just,
too.
It was really touching.
It was
wasn't
touching,
it?
yeah.
And the way she clearly wanted to give her big loves.
Yeah, and I put
hug
my life
her.
on hold for 10 months to bring her into
Right.
this world. Of course I want to see her. And I actually she was there, I was hoping for a little something for the both of them so they could have a moment with Marigold where you could. And of course, no,
Instead, it was very awkward.
it was horrible.
Painful.
It was very difficult, very painful.
Well, and Rosamund, as she was leaving, saying, "Remember your
auntie.
auntie.
Yeah, auntie.
I mean friend, Rosamund."
Yeah, and then Marigold cries.
Marigold screams,
Yeah,
"Get that
exactly.
lady away from me!"
Exactly. And even Tim sent them away. So yeah, that was very uncomfortable and unfortunate and sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one.
And it really is. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it really illustrated what Rosamund was saying. How you have your whole place is in danger, meaning your whole
Infinite
position.
damage to your reputation.
Yes.
That's what I was
Yes.
going for right there.
Thank
So
you. But what was the thing? And no emotional.
With no reward.
No, yeah, and it was that really was just so solidified that. Ugh. And I know we always joke poor Edith, but I was just going, oh man, that poor woman.
Yeah. I mean, and how when Drew tells her you can't, you really have to stop. You can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
you know, she was kind of a woman possessed at that moment. Because she comes in and her exact line was, I have to see her.
Right.
You know, and so she's so kind of driven to this singular focus right now. Yeah. But, you know, I have to say, the thing is that I have a hard time with the storyline because I'm sure Gregson is coming back.
You're sure?
I'm sure. And they're all going to be a happy family. And so I'm just sitting kind of here watching this going, yeah, whatever. String it along. String it along, Julian Fellows, because I know, because it's poor Edith. You know, we've all adopted the hashtag, and it's... when by the time you get the hashtag, it's time to make a change. And so he's going to make her happy. I'm certain of it. Certain.
I hope so. God, so many seasons of depression.
And so for now, it's just like, come on, get it on.
Yeah, but it is, sometimes I'm going, yeah, let's move this going. Let's get this going, moving along a little bit, because it is just kicking the thing down the road a little bit.
But this was interesting because now Violet knows.
Yes.
Because she browbeat Rosamund.
Another great scene, you know, of Rosamund and Violet. I'm afraid you've read somewhere that rudeness in old age is amusing. It's not.
I wonder where Rosamund gets that kind of way with a word and a line.
So she tells, you know, tell me the secret about Edith. What is the secret? The child is hers, right?
Yep. The whole thing.
Yeah. Ooh. So, but I thought that scene was great. You know, you're not leaving without telling me this. So, do you want to tell me now, or should I have a room made up for you?
That was a great scene. And then right after that was when she went back to Tim, which is what we've already talked about. But the other thing I thought was interesting is Tim's plan. If you keep coming, we'll just leave. We'll move. Because what's the other choice? There are no other choices except what, are we going to bring the baby up to Downton and leave it in the library? That's not going to happen either.
Right.
So he's positioning it or framing it such that there is no choice. You just have to stop.
Right.
And that's just not going to happen.
Right, and that's the thing that pushes Edith to...
Okay, so that's Tim's plan. Well, either you're going to stop or we're going to just move and take her with us.
Right. And,
of course, the other plan that Isabel,
Rosamund and Violet come up with.
Always the pragmatist, Violet.
We must get the child away. There are schools who will take any child. It's quite manageable.
And take it to France. Take Marigold to France. You can still visit, but as long as you never reveal your relationship. So what do you think of that plan? If Tim's is just, okay, fine, if you don't stop, we're out of here. Or we just take the baby.
Lose for poor Edith.
There's no position, nothing. And the only thing she could think of is, well, what if I just take the baby to London?
Yeah, that's going to be easy to be.
Exactly.
But she's planning it. That's the phone call she makes, so I don't know who she's calling.
Yeah, but she's gonna steal her.
So is that what you're thinking?
She's gonna steal her.
Okay.
She's now gonna be a kidnapper.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a couple weeks. Here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna have a couple weeks in London where she's gonna be on the lam, and then Gregson's gonna turn
Marigold.
Up. With Marigold.
Okay.
With Marigold, and then Gregson's gonna turn up, and they'll be happy.
All right.
Edith.
Well, that might be fun though.
Edith. Well, what about the couple, the Jews?
Ugh.
Well,
they get their baby taken away.
Well, that's going to be difficult too. But they have their own kids, so it's not. I mean, what else are you going to say? Well, this isn't your child. I never should have done this, but I'm sorry.
Jesus.
What do you do?
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible
because she's already stolen that child away.
Yes, exactly. They made a point of reminding us. They made a point of reminding us.
Mrs. Schroeder's been able to piece her life back together. Well, she adopted another baby.
Yeah, exactly. Which is that's kind of why I said, well, the Drews have their own babies. That's kind of what they were saying with the Schneiders.
Schroeder,
thank you.
Yeah, but terrible.
Yeah.
Talk about being self-centered and not.
Yeah.
Having
but
any
can you
compassion.
see what else is there to do except look? You got to fess up. You got to own up. This is your child. That's your only solution. Here's the truth. Yes, it's going to be horrible for the family, but it's the only chance you have at any kind of happiness with that child.
Yes.
With the child.
Period.
Now, I don't know what that will do to the child's fortune.
Infinite damage to her reputation.
Yeah, there you go. Infinite damage to her reputation. All right. So that's where we're stuck with. All right. Two more things. I don't know what the Mrs. Patmore's inheritance had. It was an interesting little detour of the storylines.
What was that about?
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing story. But I thought it was interesting that Miss Patmore, she inherited 400 pounds.
Yep.
Besides the fact that Mrs. Hughes undermined Carson's knowledge about such things, and it was pretty cute that he got so riled up about it, I don't see the purpose. Am I?
No,
missing
I don't
something?
either. I felt like it was sort of thrown in, but a couple of things. I liked how the ladies twisted the conversation.
Yeah, that was great.
And allowed him to save face. But
Yeah.
you were the one who gave her the idea.
Yes.
And before that, leading into the conversation in the
Yeah.
room, Mrs. Hughes said, "I wish men worried about our feelings a quarter as much as we do theirs."
Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then I said, we can't. You have too many feelings.
Shut up.
So yeah, it was fine storyline. I was just going, but as I'm watching, I'm going, is this somehow part of everything? It didn't feel as organic as everything else to me.
No.
So it was kind of an odd throw in. I did like, the Miss Patmore being so honest about saying, well, I asked him because he was a man.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Hughes saying, yeah, that's never a good idea.
Yeah, well, except in that time, that was,
But,
the way to
Carson
do
was
it.
so, when he met Lord Grantham, he learned about the WP Moss or whatever in the building, and he passes that information on to
It
Miss
wasn't
Patmore.
such bad advice.
No, not
No,
bad advice. And
not at
he's
all.
all puffed up. He thinks he's, yeah, right. And then
I'm
she
gonna
starts
tell you.
asking questions, and he can't answer him. It's like
Yeah.
so deflated so quickly. It's like, wow. That was-
I mean, more than anything, it was just a sort of character reminder for
Yeah.
me, the storyline, and that's one of the things we love about the show is, getting to really live with the characters.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if, because she says it's not just she bought a house, but she bought a house to rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's she going to rent it to? Is that going to be somebody we know? Is that where the child is going to be? Marigold.
Very
and
interesting, John.
so I'm just wondering,
Do you stay up late at night? thinking
Yes,
these
yes, I do.
permutations?
Exactly,
I bet
exactly.
you do. You have a flow chart on your wall,
I
don't
do.
you?
Yes. No, no thoughts of this? No, you didn't think this through, huh?
I honestly didn't. All I thought was how cute Mrs. Patmore is when she ran in and she said,
Yeah.
I finally have good news.
I have
Yeah,
good
exactly.
news. My aunt died.
It was such a nice turnaround from last
How
week.
cute is she?
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay, well, that's not the good news. Yeah, it was
That's not the
terrific. It was terrific.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so
And she's back to her sweet self again.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
kind of having
After
some troubles
Archie's
with,
trouble.
continuing
Yeah.
to encourage
I'm
Daisy.
curious of whether or not those stories will ever get resolved in any way, because we don't know if Archie's name is going to be anywhere on any
Right.
candidate.
Yeah.
So, they made a point of really following that storyline for two episodes.
Two episodes, yeah.
So, all right. So let's move on to our next one, which is Scotland Yard Comes Calling.
Yes.
And everybody's on edge because of the fact that it's not just Sergeant Wills calling; it's Inspector Viner with them, and it's a whole Scotland Yard deal now.
Yeah.
Different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
So he interviews Anna, or was it
Yes.
Mary first or Anna? Mary first.
Mary
I think,
first.
Yeah. And she answers, and he's suspicious of everything. Good detective, as you should be. Why not
Right.
be suspicious? But I don't think he was satisfied with any of the answers that he got.
Not at all.
So he must know something that we don't yet, which makes him obviously suspicious. So.
Something's up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're okay. So I was talking earlier about how. Okay. One of our, again, YouTube comments, Gatora, it might be Gatorade 555, says, regarding the unending green business, stop already. There's nothing plausible about this situation. Over it. And I am adopting that mentality.
Nothing plausible about it.
Nothing
Okay.
plausible. And that's the thing. Pablo Castillo Dominguez, who gave us the dog
Right, got it. Thank you, Pablo.
tip, he counseled me through my impatience on the story, which was
Okay,
great.
thanks, Pablo.
But there are a couple of people. Catherine Smith says that Gillingham killed Green.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
because people had talked about how he never really liked his valet, and
Right.
that he would kill him for Mary.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So, because one of the reasons why some people don't like Gillingham is because he's a little cray-cray.
Okay.
And, I refuse to accept your
Sure.
refusal
Oh,
and that kind of
shoot.
thing. So more than one person has said that I bet Gillingham killed Green. Eric Tull, again, says Gillingham has said on 2 occasions that he didn't like his valet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but that's just, it's a big leap to go from I don't like somebody to I pushed him in front of a bus.
For my girlfriend.
If that's
For the
the case,
maid of
there'd
my
be a lot more
girlfriend.
pushing in front of bus.
Jeez. Who suggested Mrs. Hughes?
Oh, I did at one
yeah,
point because
I think John
Well,
did.
she sure looked defensive and
Uh-huh.
scared when Anna was getting questioned.
Yes. Yes.
Didn't she? Did you guys
Yeah.
notice that?
Yes, absolutely.
She was more nervous than Anna was.
I'm not speculating anymore.
Well, I mean, I agree that they're completely, all of them so far are completely implausible, but because we only have a limited pool to pick from, we have to pick somebody.
I mean,
that's true.
And it's fun for a little bit, and that's why I said it was Mrs. Hughes, because that's just as likely as anybody else.
Right, because they're all incredibly unlikely.
Exactly.
But I agree too. I'm over it. Let's get something tied up.
Well, you know, the nice thing about this particular storyline that they did this time is they actually had Anna and Bates have a conversation.
Right.
Which
Thank you. I wanted to talk about
that. It touched back on why everybody liked them together as a couple, because they weren't talking about the green. Well, they started to talk about the little discussion of the cops and everything, but then they got into personal things, the reasons why they love each other and that kind of stuff. So that was nice to remind us.
Nature.
Right. And so this week, what did the police want? She says, I honestly don't know. And he says, I promise you this, nothing bad is ever going to happen to you again. I'll make certain you're safe.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be surrounded by kids and all that. So
right.
So if Anna is found out or arrested in any way, he'll take the fall.
Right.
Because that's what he'll do. Because there's no way he wants her to go to prison. So she'll be pregnant.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
she can have a baby
she'll be
in
pregnant.
jail.
Then they're gonna arrest her, it's gonna look like they're gonna arrest her.
They're gonna accuse her
or something like that, and Bates will step in and
okay, sure, that's
confess.
Just as plausible as anything else.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Sure, we'll take that one.
All right,
John.
but lastly, we should talk about Thomas real quick, because it was interesting that Thomas he'd take a big he took a big interest, I should say, with the inspector being there. He wants to know what's up. So.
Yes.
What is up with him telling Mrs. Hughes he might have something to tell them?
Yeah, who knows? But, he always likes to stir the pot, cause some trouble there. So I'm not exactly sure what it is specifically that he wants to say, but he's got an axe to grind, which is, I don't know why with Bates so much, because Bates got him out of a big jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he obviously doesn't like him. And he might just be,
he also just likes to have
upset.
He likes to have the power.
Mm-hmm. And of course, he's been had a rough deal his whole life too. So maybe he's just striking out because of it.
Yeah, could be.
So, but he certainly does not look well, because everybody was noticing it now.
No.
So it's no secret. Whatever he's doing is having an effect that everybody is noticing.
He is a mess, for sure.
So, because even the Dowager noticed it, said something at dinner. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Crazy talk, right?
Yeah.
For the Dowager to say something.
Yeah, that's harsh and rare.
So, that'll come to me. So, any ideas on what he might say, or what he might reveal, or just not even that it has anything to do with truth?
No, I have nothing.
I have nothing either.
All right. You never know with Barrow. He comes up with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he may just come up with something.
Let's get to, I don't really want to deal with the predictions. Let's get to news and gossip.
Yeah, let's not do predictions.
We're not doing any, because we've already talked about it. We're doing news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
The TV Times caught up with Michelle Dockery, who plays Lady Mary, asked her a few questions about this series. They asked her what's happening with Mary's love life now that she's dumped Tony and seems to be going back with Charles. She says she made a decision but changed her mind, but she can't be flippant because it is her future, whoever she turns out to be with. Turns out she has to take on a lot of responsibility for Downton and for her son George. It was never going to be a quick decision for her.
But Charles got all that money, and he's got the title and the... Come on, she's set.
I mean, that's an easy decision for me, but... Yeah. And regarding her relationship with Edith, and that they seem to be bantering again. Well, she says, yes, well, while they were grieving for Matthew and Sybil, they were civil, but now Mary has her wit and spark back, and they're in the full flow again. Laura and I get excited about those scenes because where we spit at each other. It's hilarious and hard to keep a straight face being mean to one of your best mates, because they are our best friends.
Yeah, they're best friends. Yeah, they do a good job hiding that. So.
Okay, it turns out that you can buy your way into Downton Abbey.
Whoa.
This week, we met ruggedly handsome Atticus Aldridge, Rose's new possible love interest. While his name seems to be typically English, creator Julian Fellows did not name the new character. Side note, because if he did, he'd named him Birch or Fern, because of his floral names that he usually gives characters. Okay. Shortly after finding out that her daughter Alina had type 1 diabetes, Lady Maria Balfour, a friend of Julian Fellows, decided to take action. Within days, she had contacted Fellows and asked him if he would contribute something from his hit show Downton Abbey for her fundraiser.
Oh, nice. I see.
So he generously donated the centerpiece of the fundraiser's auction, naming rights to a character for Series 5 of the show.
Wow, look at that.
Lady Maria, known as Juby, said, I wrote suggesting the idea, never thinking that he would agree. He answered straight away, saying, what a great idea. No one has ever asked us that before. In addition to Julian Fellowes, Home Secretary Theresa May and Pippa Middleton attended the event, which raised more than £200,000 for type 1 diabetes research.
Right on.
The winner of the auction named the character for his son. No word on how much he donated to get the prize, but certainly it is a gift that they will be able to talk about for many years to come, and the money goes to a great cause.
Okay. Well, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That is.
Couple of quick shout outs to, let's see, Catherine Smith, Matt Lau, we talked about him last week, Jesse, So You Think You Can Dance. A lot of people talked about, yes, absolutely, Thomas is trying to cure himself.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this might be a little scoop, a little investigative scoop on the story of diabetes.
Right.
Julian Fellowes apparently is also planning to create a separate diabetic character on the series. What if Thomas is diabetic?
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Explains the injections.
Insulin?
Could be.
It's not going to be that.
It's not.
I just thought I'd bring it up. Gavin 48, 63, Island Girl, Soren Crane, Elizabeth Frisch,
Okay.
Pepsi Lava. And that's it.
All right.
Thank you for
Awesome.
all the
Yes, thank you. Please,
comments.
we
We
can't
love
tell you how
them.
much we like,
And
enjoy
the
them.
tweets. Oh, right. Yeah. I was saying to John earlier, I sit and I laugh out loud as I read these comments. They make me laugh because they're so funny.
Yeah.
The fans know us pretty well,
Yeah.
and they say some pretty silly things about us, which just is delightful. And I every day.
But great insight too. So
Brilliant
amazing
insight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic. You guys are so great. You just give me great joy. So thank
All
you.
right. So, and speaking of talking to them, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at Tamara Berg, TamaraBerg, and my website is tamaracentral.com.
Alina.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Alina Akram, L-A-A-L-I-N-A, last name A-K-R-A-M-L-A.
And you can only find me here, where I will be next week for another exciting wrap-up of Downton Abbey, Series 5. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Cup of tea.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.